It's been an exciting week in the diocese with the ordination on Saturday of two new priests, Father Michael Kokoschka and Father Frank Furman. Both men were ordained by Springfield Bishop Mitchell Rosansky at St. Michael's Cathedral, and as CAROLEE McGrath reports, they are looking forward to serving God and His Church.
On the eve of their ordination and on the solemnity of Saints Peter and Paul, Deacon Michael Kokoschka and Deacon Frank Furman kneeled before Jesus in the Blessed Sacrament. Their entire journey to the priesthood has been about prayer, and at the Holy Hour for Vocations held at the Holy Spirit Chapel at St. Michael's Cathedral, family and friends prayed for these two new priests and for future vocations.
My hopes for my son is that he will be a great priest and save thousands and thousands of souls.
The next morning, surrounded by those same family members, both deacons processed up the aisle, ready to answer God's call.
As the Church of Springfield, we gather on this joyful day to ordain Michael Kokoschka and Frank Furman to the priesthood. We welcome them as brothers in our midst, who, through the grace of God and through the workings of the Holy Spirit, will be ordained for service to God's people in His holy church, with their families, friends, parishioners from their home parishes and where they have served, with brother priests, deacons, men and women religious. We give thanks to God that these two men have responded so generously to God's call to them.
Springfield Bishop Mitchell Rosansky was the principal celebrant for the special Mass at St. Michael's Cathedral called the Rite of Ordination.
Reverend Mr. Frank Furman.
The rite begins with the calling of the candidates.
Reverend Mr. Michael Kokoschka.
Michael and Frank, as God's priest, will be called to witness to the love of the gospel and the presence of Christ among His people.
As the Mass continued, Bishop Rosansky asked about the worthiness of the candidates. Both Father Kokoschka and Father Furman expressed their fidelity to God and His Church.
Do you resolve, with the help of the Holy Spirit, to discharge without fail the office of priesthood in the presbyteral rank as worthy fellow workers with the order of bishops in caring for the Lord's flock?
I do.
As the rite continued, Father Kokoschka and Father Furman lay prostrate on the altar as a sign of total submission to God as the congregation sang the Litany of the Saints.
Holy Mary, Mother of God, pray for us. Saint Michael, pray for us.
This was followed by the laying on of hands, the most solemn part of the ceremony.
There's just a great overwhelming sense of gladness and joy. After 6 years, you come to receive the crown jewel of the priesthood, so it's a great thing. We can celebrate our first Masses tomorrow. We celebrated with the bishop today, so there's just a lot of joy. It feels very good.
The Eucharist is the source and summit of our faith, and from that all the other sacraments spring. And having the other sacraments available for me to go and anoint people, to strengthen them in their times of suffering, it's all going to be a very joyful summer for me.
There are currently 10 men in the seminary for the Diocese of Springfield. Vocation co-directors Father Matthew Alkenbright and Father Michael Wood say it's really important for all Catholics, moms and dads, grandparents, to pray for more vocations.
We need priests because we need the Eucharist, and the Eucharist is only given to us through the hands of the priest. And so Jesus instituted this as the most ancient rite of the church, is to ordain men who will give of themselves to give the Eucharist, to give Christ truly present in that host to the people.
It's important for people to pray for vocations in their family, in their parishes, to ask God to bless us with more vocations, but also not to be afraid to suggest to a young man or a not so young man that they might have the skills and talents that God could use to be an effective priest.
Father Kokoschka and Father Furman are looking forward to serving Christ and His Church. Reporting for Reel to Reel in Springfield, I'm CAROLEE McGrath.